sure the microphones are on.
Like yesterday.
Microphones are not on. And we have the microphones on. Okay. Can you hear us in the booth? Should we just speak really loudly?
Stop.
Okay.
Are they wireless mics?
I'm sorry?
Are they wireless mics?
Yeah. Okay, now they're on.
Do you see what we have here? I'm not sure how to laugh at it, but how much makgeolli did you consume in making this film?
How much did I drink?
Yeah, for this film.
A lot. Like I said, 2 bottles. No, I'm kidding. I love makgeolli. Do you like makgeolli? Did you try makgeolli? Yes. It's really good.
Did that come from you, that aspect of your character, liking makgeolli?
Drinking makgeolli? No. No, it comes from what Hong wrote. Yeah, she's drinking makgeolli. I thought it was very funny. Yeah.
How did you meet him more than 10 years ago? Because the first time was in another country, right?
I met Hong, yes, 12 years ago. Okay, time flies. Anyway, what I really like about my encounter with, my various encounters with Hong, because whenever I met him over the years and how we decided to make films, it's always like a Hong Sangsoo's film story, you know. From the moment I meet him, it's like being in a Hong Sangsoo's film. When I say this, because it's like everything was happening at random, by chance, and a bit like Hong Sangsoo's film, precisely. So we met briefly in Paris for a short moment through Claire Denis, because Claire is a great friend of Hong, and then eventually I saw him again in Seoul. I was presenting photos, exhibition of my photos, not as a photographer, just photos of me, and but I'm not a photographer either, so and so Hong was here, and so he said, why don't we meet the next day and have lunch? I said, yeah, okay. And he took me to a very strange place, the Seoul. The roof was made of roofs of old cars, very strange. And it was just the 2 of us in that very weird place. The food was okay, but good. But the roof was so strange. It was cars, And then I asked him, we spoke, and I asked him, what are you going to do next? Just as a normal conversation. And he said, I'm going to do a film, which was not really surprising, and then I said, what is it going to be about? And he said, of course, well, I have no idea what it's going to be about, but I know where I want to do it, And that really made sense already. And it was at Sea Resort that he wanted to film a story. He had no idea what story was going to be, but he wanted to make a film in this place, at this Sea Resort, not ski resort, Sea Resort. And then he said, are you busy in 2 months? He said, no. He said, do you want to do it? Do you want to be in the film? I said, yeah, okay. And so I went back to Paris, and 2 months later, I flew back, and we did this film together. And I think the same thing happened on Claire's camera. We knew that we were going to be together. I was presenting Elle, the Oven's film, and he was there maybe for a film too. And
Yeah.
so he said, okay, why don't we do a film? Because we're going to be together in Cannes, so let's do a film.
All the free time that you have.
Yeah. Well, it's only 6 days, you know, so, I mean, in another country it was 9 days. Claire's camera was 6 days, and this one was 13 days, a super production.
But his process has, I think, essentially stayed the same in that time, but in some ways it's become even more minimal.
Yeah, even more, it's really minimum, yeah. Because before there was what you could call a crew. There was a cameraman, and there was a few people. There was a continuity girl, but she was doing several things, not only the continuity, but assistant, and even on cameras Claire. But this, there was no one. It was only me, I mean, him, and a tiny little camera, and just a girl, not even with a boom, and that's all. So it was
So him and a
him and the
sound
girl
person.
and the actors.
And,
Yeah.
and Kim Min-hee also helps him now.
And Kim, yes.
She's like a
No, she's around.
production manager on your films.
She's there. Mhm.
So, I mean, obviously this is very, very different from most films that you're in. I'm just wondering, like, does that process, what excites you about working that way? You know, because like, you do work on big productions often. You know, you work in theater where there's just a lot happening around you all the time too, but to just go there when there's like 2 people basically making the film, like almost as a student film would be made.
I wouldn't say a student film, no.
In terms of numbers of people.
No, yeah, but no, I love doing it because it says so much about what it means to do a film. That's one of the many reasons why I like to make films with Hong Sangsoo. It tells you, well, first of all, it tells you how the cinema is flexible. You know, it goes from the infinitely big, you know. I was on Heaven's Gate, for example, you know, which was infinitely big, and it can be infinitely small. But it's not because you don't have much that you don't have enough. You know, and that's really what you experience on a movie with Hong Sangsoo. And it's not because you don't have much time that you don't take your time. So the whole thing is really a reflection about money, about time, about and it's just you know, because in a film with Hong Sangsoo, you don't have a script, you don't have a story, you don't have a character, and miraculously you have a film. Day by day, yeah, you have a film, and you don't know what it is about. I have no idea what I'm going to do because there is no script, so he only gives you the dialogues. Before, he used to give the dialogues the day before, which was okay because I could learn the dialogue during the night, but now it was only in the morning, so a lot of text I have to learn. Yeah, and so that's what. Because you really experience if it was necessary to make an experiment about this, that movie making is really not what you say but how you say it. You know, because what you say, I don't care. It's just how you say it. That's really what matters. And it's I'm always fascinated because I cannot tell you how things happen, but it happens. You know, the film was shot in continuity, and I was thinking the first scene again, you know, tonight before leaving the room, and then I said, how did we start? How did it happen? How did I take these poses? How it happened? I have no explanation. Because also that it's about time and it's about gaze, you know, because you really feel he looks at something, and that's enough to be really fulfilling also. He looks at you, he looks at the situation, and so it's like a white space that you have to fill up.
Yeah.
day by day, hour after hour.
So as you were saying, it's shot chronologically, right?
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
So when you're in that, let's just say that first scene that you just rewatched, you, at that point, what do you know? Do you just know the words in front of you? Is there anything like that's given to you beyond like the first scene or the first and second scenes? Or?
Yes, I don't know anything but the words. Yeah, and sometimes I don't even know the words. But which is good too, because I think it plays on that. Of course, if you don't know the words, so it means that you look for the words, and so there is really nothing that you can anticipate, which is good because it's in life, as you can tell now, for example, you don't necessarily know what you are going to say, and so you make pauses, you think, you try to remember, and that's what he captures. So of course, he's smart enough to know that it's also a good source of interesting material to not to be too secure with the text, even if the text is really precise with Hong Sangsoo.
Yeah.
It's really a great trial.
He insists on the text being delivered as he's written, or?
No, I insist of saying it. Not he insists, because it's a good tool. It's a good text. So I wouldn't change a comma.
How many takes does he usually do these days?
He does a lot of takes.
Mm-hmm.
He takes his time. That's really, 13 days, but long days, many takes, not many shots, as you can tell. It's like not like I was doing a huge coverage,
Right.
close up, middle shot, and whatever. No, of course, it's so much thought of, so much like a painter. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about what you make of your character's approach to teaching language. Your character's approach to language as a language teacher.
Well,
When did you, at what point in the script did you realize that that's what she was doing, was teaching?
well, I'm not sure I still realize what she was exactly doing, but yeah. He must have told me she teaches languages, but obviously one can understand quite quickly that she teaches something beyond languages. She's a bit like halfway between the fairy and the witch, like a wicked fairy and a nice witch. Witch, yeah, sorcerer. And that makes you laugh. Yeah. It makes me laugh too. And so she tries to goes into people's mind, unconscious. She tries to make them think, and it makes her think too. But I think even saying this, it's too much of psychology. Of course, there is nothing. I think what you understand, what you resent, what you feel is absolutely enough to really get the film because there is no really psychological explanation, of course. I mean, he never told me anything about. We only spoke about the costume, And I love the way I bought my costume because I bought my costume, and it was literally like I was already a traveler going to Korea because it was 3 hours going to the airport, and we still, I knew that we still didn't have the costume because he wanted me to wear a dress I was wearing in another country. He said, "Do you remember this little dress you have in the third part of the film?" I said, "Yes, Hong, I remember. I think you could wear this dress, but I didn't have it. It was somewhere." I said, "I don't have it," but I knew he wanted me to wear a dress, and so I took a walk before flying. It's a long trip, and I packed, and then I took a walk, and I walked by this shop, and I saw this dress, and I thought, oh, it looks like probably the dress he wants. So I sent him a picture, and he said, great. He was awake. I don't know what time it was, but he was awake. And then there was this green jacket, and so I said, do you like the jacket? He said, yeah. So I got the jacket. And then I had these blue shoes that I just got from 3 days before in Spain because I was going to present a film. I like shopping, so I bought shoes. And he said, yeah, the shoes look great. And I grabbed the So it was nice because it was a traveler's preparation. And then I traveled with my costume. and the hat was very important. He wanted me to wear a hat, and I couldn't find the proper hat, so as soon as I arrived, I went to buy this hat with Kim in Seoul. Yeah.
What kind of direction does he give you? Because as you've already suggested, he's quite anti-psychological as a director. So like, what does he tell you to? When he asks for more takes, what is the direction?
He doesn't tell me anything.
Let's do it again. Or?
Yeah, just do it. Yeah, he suggests action and cut, and sometimes not even, which I like. The action and cut is already. Does he say action? I don't think he says action. It starts and then it ends at some point, but I don't even think he says action. You know, I did this film with Maurice Pialat, the great French director called Lulu, and Maurice Pialat was a very optimistic person. He said, "Oh, it's a pity because the best film you will never get to see them because it's before action and after cut." Meaning, the minute you say action, you start doing things instead of being or instead of whatever. So I don't know what he says about Hong. I don't remember. We start and we do it. Yeah.
All right, let's take some audience questions, and I think we have microphones for you as well. Yeah, we can start here in the front. First row.
Thank you. This is a remarkable film, so thought-provoking. There's this mystery about this human being as to what her story is and where she comes from. I'm curious how much you feel your way through finding those answers versus arrive and experience the moment.
Well, obviously I come from far. I'm French, and I find myself in Korea. So, no, it's true. I come from far, and that's enough to fill up the feelings, the emotions, the situations. Because whenever I did movies with Hong, the first one was called In Another Country, and of course he was trying to experience what it means to be a foreigner, what it means to be not the same, speaking a different language, so he plays always with me having in his films. I think what it means to be different, what it means to be alike, where can we connect, where we can't. Because it's also always about loneliness, I think, All of a sudden you see me disappearing in the woods, you don't know where, and you get this strange feeling of loneliness. So he plays with this, and you, of course, you feel it when you do it, because that's why the locations are also so important for Hong Sangsoo, and it really made sense, when the first time we met, he said, I know the place. He knew that the location, he knew that place, and he knew that he wanted to fill that place with characters, with persons. He didn't know how, but yes, he had this idea. The beach, the sea. I don't know. He's a poet. It's the most difficult thing also to bring on screen, I think, poetry. And I think he knows how to do it. Yeah.
Thank you very much for this film. What I find quite remarkable is that you are drawing emotions out of all these different characters. You're staying quite aloof, but the characters all break down at one point about something that is very, very personal to them and that has never been brought out. And I wonder how you feel about that.
Yes, but it's a good resume, summarizing of the situation and they all have, like everybody in this room, and including myself, a secret, something that they can't really say or deal with or don't want to say also. That's possible, it's more than possible. And And that's what he tried to capture. So the story doesn't really matter, you know, it's more about this kind of a connection, disconnections that he wants to show. And with little details also, you know, I'm thinking of this moment, and someone was asking me today whether that was written or not. Is when I put the little green stick around the pencil, you know, listening to the music. I don't know, I don't remember if it was written or if it just happened, you know. And but it happens, and it's a little moment like this.
Okay, we have time for only one final question. Just getting the signal. Yeah, so
do you think Hong Sangsoo's role as the director and screenwriter has similarities with your character's role as the language teacher in the film?
Yes, definitely, of course, yes. I feel like I'm his I say something that he wants to say, yeah. And I was thinking also, you know, cinema is a language, so it's very easy to, if you listen, and even if you don't listen, if you just have your ears open, you understand that language. You know exactly what he's talking about. That's not only true about Hong Sangsoo, it's true in general about movies. And I really do think that it's a language. That's why you really have to explain or to know, because you understand exactly, you know, with the relation between you and the outside, and what does the camera, how this gaze operates around you, about the dog also. I love the dog, by the way. Yes, it's true. It's so funny. You know, all of a sudden you have this dog. It's, yeah. It's exactly, and I feel that. And in addition to that, I think I'm really the messenger of what he wants to say. And but also I think, because I noticed that in all in the three films I did with Hong, I'm in a certain way. I don't know. I have a way of being which I'm not in the French films. I don't know. Maybe being curious, a bit naive, a bit, and of course that's only what he wants to project also. But it means to be in a different world, different and not so different, because of course at some point everybody is different, but everybody is the same. So I feel that when I do movies with him.
can you just, as a follow-up to that, like last question, can you talk a little bit about the scene partners, the various actors you work with? Some are very young, some are more experienced, you know, in this film. And I also want to ask you to talk about the flirting scene. the flirting scene, when you're flirting with
You mean the wig scene?
the wig scene.
Yeah. I don't know how this happened, because I'm trying to remember, did he really write I'm winking, or I don't know, probably, because it's so bizarre, but why not, you know, it's and no, the actors are great. They have to forgive me for, I hate not being able to say properly people's names in general, but tonight, well, you'll have to excuse me. Anyway, they're all great, and the man I'm winking to, he was, I think he was in another country too, or in yeah, in another country, and all actors, yeah, they're just great, and also I imagine that the way we speak for each other, for all of us in the film, is like a special music, because I can hear them, they Korean people speaking English, and it gives of course a nice, and I imagine also me speaking in English. I'm not sure it's so nice, but anyway, it's a special music, you know, that belongs belongs to me. And so, yeah, it's you don't. Also, you are always slightly a different person when you speak in a foreign language. I know it. When I perform in English, I'm not the same person when I perform in French, or I don't know, in another language. Yeah, that's why I always like very much the title also, in another country. It says a lot.
And the Traveler's Niece is also a great.
Yeah, the Traveler's Name is not bad. And the Claire's camera is not bad too. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Isabelle, for being here.